Good morning, YouTuber friends. This morning, I'll be working on my F-350 Ford again. My wife and I, the other day, were on our way over to look at a friend's flooding that they had going on because their neighbor had a collapsed culvert in their driveway. So the water was backing up and actually going over both of their driveways. But I do have a video showing the end process of putting in the new culvert and the flooding that was alleviated overnight. Anyway, this thing, we were on our way over there, and I mean, the truck just shook like crazy when I was coming up to a stop sign, and I went underneath, and there was a spring and a bolt laying in the road, and it was hotter than hot. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around and I will show you what I picked up off the road, and we got to figure out how to make the repair this morning. So here we go. There's the set of duals that we have to take off on the side of the truck. And it is my belief that the parts that came out of the underneath of the truck and why it locked up are actually to the parking brake. That is a spring. We'll go over here where we can see a little better. Anyway, that is a spring. And these are bolts that used to be threaded, but there's no longer threads on them, and the heads are beat to crap. And here's another. And you can see the remnants of what used to be threads. But anyway, once I got across the road after the stop sign, I decided that I was going to stop, pull off on the shoulder of a dirt road that would allow me a lot less traffic to be able to crawl under the truck and figure out where them parts came from, because I was not sure. I looked at all the caliper bolts and everything was there, and then I got to looking real good on the driver's side left rear, and the dust shield that used to be on the inside of the rear axle was actually decayed, rusted away, and it was bundled up inside of the inner hub. The parking brakes on these Ford F-350s, it's a 99, are on the inside of the hub, and it's got actually brake rotors on it, but it's got a little bitty brake set there. And they're not very big. But anyway, those brake shoes, parking brake shoes, are floating freely inside the hub right now. So they actually, when the thing is rolling, it's making a clicking noise and a grinding. And once in a while, it will try to lock up the wheel. Fortunately, the truck is heavy enough that it doesn't lock it up permanently. We were able to make it back home, swap trucks, go back out and help our friends with their water problem. And we dug out their driveway that night, started at 6:30, and we finished up about 8 o'clock, having a wide open channel for the water to alleviate throughout the night. The next morning, we went out there and we installed 24 foot of 24-inch culvert that I had laying out here in the yard, actually. It's kind of nice to pick up free stuff once in a while. And even if it costs you a little bit to go get it, it's worth having, because you never know when you're going to need it. And it just worked out for these folks that we had the culvert laying in our backyard. And I still have 3 sections of it. So I've got another 24 feet left that I could do another job for somebody in case they needed it and help them out. Anyway, I'm going to get to work on this thing, and let's see what we can remove all the brake parts inside. We don't need a parking brake anyway. It's got an automatic transmission. I may end up cutting out the removal of this caliper so I don't bore you guys, because I'm kind of fat and I got to crawl into the truck. So anyway, I'm going to leave it in there for now. Not really fat, I just got a pot belly. Not from drinking. I quit drinking 40 years ago. That's probably why I got a pot belly. Something. I put new rotors on this thing, I don't know, 10 years ago probably. I did the brakes on it again, put new pads on it here just a few years ago, a couple years ago I guess. I don't drive it a lot. Mostly just plow with it, but I do, it's got aggressive tires on it, so it's good in the wintertime. I'm going to pause that and let it drain for a few minutes and grab me a drink. Time to pull the axle. Got me a clean dish. See how it locks up? That's what it's doing going down the road too. There we go. See, it's it's a locking thing. Got a little titty sticking out right there, and that goes in the slot. So bearing looks good though. I may not have to pull it all the way off. We'll see. Yeah, parts are falling out. Somewhere. A shoe with hardly any pad at all on it. And it's been clanking around in there a while. And there's another bolt. I guess I'm going to have to take it off to inspect and see what else it might have messed up. If anything, hopefully not, but I got to get something to set the hub on. There's another shoe, and boy, that thing is really beat up. Big spring, all broken up. Yeah. You gotta get a rag and wipe off my race. I still can't see where the darn bolts came from. I guess I'm gonna have to turn this hub upside down, see if I can locate it. There went some more pieces and parts. Oh, the bolts that hold the rotor hats on they're missing some of them. See if we can get some light in here for you to be able to see. The rotor hat's falling off. I'm going to have to get some bolts, call the O'Reilly Auto Parts and see if they have them in stock. Hopefully it's not a dealer-only item. Well, still working on my truck, my F-350. Went to O'Reilly Auto Parts to pick up a new caliper. The pistons in the original caliper that were on there were completely stuck. And they caused the pads to stay engaged to the rotor, in turn cooking the red Loctite that were on the bolts that held the rotor hat to the hub. So that made them, every time it got heated up, they would work their way out. So there was a total of 3 that were worked all the way out. And then a 4th one that was almost halfway out. So I ordered the bolts through O'Reilly Auto Parts, went down there to pick them up. They didn't have them at the main store that I deal with. I had to go 5 miles west to our Henry Street location because they said they had them. And when I got there, they turned out to be some kind of wheel studs. They weren't even, I don't know, they were not the bolts that hold the rotor hat on. So I got that guy involved in the thing, and he found 4 of the bolts that I needed, because the other 4 I have are in good shape. So he said they were coming from Grand Rapids, and he ordered them so I can pick them up after 2:30 this afternoon. It's currently 1 o'clock, so I'm getting ready to put the caliper on so the brake fluid will quit dripping out of my hose, I guess. I'll show you what I got going on here real quick. Here's a brand new caliper. that I'll be installing. And anyway, there's my, I've got rubber clamps on there anyway, trying to keep the thing from leaking, but it's still leaking a little bit. But anyway, I'll get the caliper on there so the thing won't leak at all. And then I'll have to run back downtown. Hopefully it'll be about the time I need to be able to pick up the rest of my parts, my bolts. So anyway, here we go. Probably aren't gonna much be able to see, I don't guess. But let's see. Sounds like my wife has arrived. Well, that'll seal it up for now. Well, I'm back. I wasn't able to find any bolts for the hub to hold that rotor hat on. So I got on eBay and I ordered some. I only need 4 bolts, so the bolts that actually hold the axle in are identical to the ones that hold the rotor hat on. So I'm going to go ahead and put this thing together and put the rotor back on so I can get the brake assembly and the wheels and everything back on there. And I'll only have 4 bolts in the outer axle until my eBay shipment comes in. And then I can put the other 4 bolts back in and it'll be complete. But yeah, it's taking up all my space in the garage. I'll show you what's going on. I got my high strength thread locker, red. And then I got to clean the surface here. And I found a pair of brake pads up in my cabinet, which are the Brake Best Select Pro professional grade brake pads. But I've got to smooth this out, clean it off so it's got a good mating surface. And then I'll be putting the thread locker in and bolting it all back together. And then I'll be able to pull the glove off and put the hub back on. The caliper is already on, so that part is done, and then all I'll have to do is bleed that particular caliper, which is easy peasy. Should be good. As the bolts go down inside the holes, it will squish the Loctite back out through the threads, so the entire bolt will have Loctite on it. And they are 15 millimeters. I'd say that's it. Time to start putting it back together. There we go. Sometimes I get a little stubborn. I forgot I had this little nifty socket for doing this. Yeah. Sure works better than a chisel. Perfect. I got new bolts coming for the outer axle. That's how I put the inner axle together. The rotor hat. They're supposed to be here by the 4th. So I'm just putting it together temporarily with 4 of the old bolts. That way I can get the truck out of my garage and get my car back in here, because I like parking where it's warm. I keep the garage 60 degrees in here all the time. You can say, yeah, I'm spoiled, I guess. My wife has her own garage, but she won't park in it. Not sure why. I'd like her to, because that way if I had to use her car, it's warm inside. You see, I have 2 leaf springs broken out of here. So I'm going to have to get a leaf spring for it here at some point. It will gravity bleed. Be able to see it when it starts dripping right there. It's one thing about this truck. It's got one large brake fluid reservoir. Yep, it's dripping. That means all the air is out of it. No bleeding necessary. Put the little rubber cap back on. This is Gear Oil Gasket Maker. Specialized formula. I think I'm ready for an axle. Here we go. Just gonna snug it in there until my new bolts come in. We'll be good to go. I'm going to pause you while I put these lug nuts on. Well, F-350 is done until I get my bolts in the mail. I don't know if they'll be coming USPS or UPS. But they're supposed to be here by the 4th, so yeah. We're missing 4, but I'm going to change all 8. But wheels and tires are back on, so I'm going to close the hood, get this thing out of here, and bring my car back in. Have a good night. See ya.